was like, whoa.
Welcome back to It Is What It Is. This episode is presented by Underdog. The app is an easy way to make some cash just by making picks on your favorite players. Underdog is available in more than 30 states, including Georgia, Texas, and Missouri, just to name a few. If you're new, make sure y'all use code ITISWHATITIS when you sign up. Play $5 and they'll drop $75 in bonus entries your way. Make sure y'all support the show, hit that subscribe button, lock in your bonus, and start playing today with code ITISWHATITIS. I'm Treasure Wilson, aka Stat Baby, along with your host Mace. Cam will be back, and today we are joined by our analysts Arabia and Trysta.
Hey,
y'all.
How you guys doing?
Great. How are you?
It's early in the morning, but you guys look like really like good in the morning. You got no makeup on? That's real beauty with no makeup on.
Hey, you know what, Mace? We can say the same thing about you. You look great, no makeup, just like you just jumped out the bed, put them glasses on, fresh, fly.
What else can I say? Hey, God took a little bit more time with certain people, Some people were rush
Nice to meet you, Trysta. I don't think I've ever met you before. I'm excited to be on with you.
Hey, Trysta.
What's up, Mace? What's up, Stat? I just saw Stat like 2 days ago, caught up with her. She's looking amazing. She's got a glow to her. We got to hang out at this brunch right before the NBA Cup, and amazing to meet Arabia. I've heard so many great things. I've watched so many amazing clips. I think I actually saw you at the NFL like media day for Super Bowl, but you were talking to somebody important and I didn't want to bother you, so.
Oh, no, nobody's too important. You can always just cut in, girl.
Enough with the women empowerment. Let's get to this show. I see this girl power girl link up. And I know Cam wouldn't like this if he was president. All of the girl linking up and the women empowerment. Thank you for all of the women out there. But Stat, can we get on with the show?
I love how you say that, and we're going to get on to another topic that you probably don't want to talk about. You just alley-oop to a tunnel. But glad to see everybody here. Glad that you guys got to meet, because I didn't even realize that we didn't have the full introduction. So that's great to see everybody here. But we are going to start
it's good. Everybody's here. Trysta, it's so good to see you. Where you been at? What's new with you? What's going on? Are you fighting Mayweather's in the exhibition? What's going on with you?
Is that is that a jacket shot, or is that just?
Yeah, the jacket is giving fighter.
Yeah, it's giving cold. It's giving like just trying to stay warm early in the morning when the sun is just up. I've just been staying ready.
It's good.
Staying ready, so you don't.
She got nice lights in the background and good mahogany wood, so she's doing pretty good.
Period. Okay, so we're going to start with the Steelers. The Steelers eliminated the Dolphins from the playoffs after beating them 28-15. We're going to go with Arabia first, then Trysta, then Mace. Do you guys think this is more about the Steelers win or the Dolphins loss to you?
I'd say the Steelers win. I mean, the Dolphins had a really rocky start to start the NFL season off. I kind of wrote Mike McDaniel off. I thought he was going to be one of the first coaches to be fired this season, and then somehow they picked it up and performed a lot better towards the second half of the season. But the Steelers are in a really tight race with the Ravens knocking on the door right behind them for the AFC North, trying to make the playoffs and trying to stay in that playoff rate. But Stat, let me ask you a question.
Yes.
Have you ever seen a dolphin playing in snow?
Nope. They don't need to.
No. Well, they say Dolphins can't play in the cold. 13 straight losses for Miami in 40-degree weather or colder. And this particular game got them eliminated from the playoffs. Now, the Dolphins didn't find the end zone until later on in the second half, and they never really got a ground game going. But the Steelers, on the other hand, had twice as many rushing yards, twice as many carries than the Dolphins, which is a luxury you can afford when you're leading for most of the game. Aaron Rodgers only threw 27 times for 2 touchdowns. The rest of the touchdowns were on the ground. That's 23 consecutive home Monday Night Football game wins for the Steelers. Last time they lost a home Monday Night Football game was in 1991 versus the Giants. So, like I said, Pittsburgh's sights are set on winning the AFC North. Really tight race. But if you look at both of these Ravens and Steelers teams' next 3 games, the Steelers' schedule seems to be a bit more favorable. So we're going to see who ends up winning the AFC North race.
I was just gonna just jump in and say I totally agree with Arabia in the sense that I think that the Steelers really took the win. This is the most complete that I've seen the Steelers play pretty much all season. Aaron Rodgers was awesome. Like you said, Arabia, he was hyper efficient. Kenneth Gainwell was getting busy, not just as a runner, but also as a receiving threat. And I think for me, and Stat, I think you probably could agree with this, but defensively, that was the biggest question mark, right? TJ Watt is out for the rest of the season, and this defense has been allowing 200 yards on the ground on average in their last 3 games. So I was very skeptical, thinking Devon Achane was going to come in here and get busy. And guess what? He was getting hit in the backfield. You had Tua Tagovailoa getting on his back pretty much the entire game until garbage time. And then Pittsburgh held Miami to negative 20 yards in the third quarter. So that gave me a lot of optimism that the Steelers could defensively play awesome, but also offensively. First time in 7 years, the Steelers have had 4 straight TD drives with DK Metcalf, with a couple of tight ends, and Freiermuth, and Jonnu, and Gainwell. And really Aaron Rodgers being super efficient. Yeah, I think that the Steelers are ready to go.
Yeah, I was looking at Tua's record right now on the computer right now, and looking at his record in 2021, he only had no touchdowns when it comes to 44 degrees. He had 1 touchdown in 2021 and 42 degrees. He had 2 touchdowns in 38 degrees, 1 touchdown in 45 in 2022. 2023 he has 1 touchdown. He really doesn't play well at all in cold weather. So you guys are talking about the Dolphins, but it's really a Tua case, right? And it seemed like every time, I'm just happy he met the numbers that I had him for underdog. Underdog, I actually got mine right. Cam didn't get his right. Cam, I'm not talking behind your back. You're just not here. If you was here, I would say it while you was here. My numbers came in well. But what do we expect? This is Titletown. I'm still waiting on the paperwork to come back. They say they got me under investigation with Titletown, since Statnam is trying to say I'm not the real Titletown. So that we're looking into that. But when it comes to this Steeler team, I know Stat is really happy about this. Stat, celebrate right now, because I got you guys going out in the playoffs. I got you going out first round in the playoffs. I'm hating, whatever you want to call it.
I just don't understand. I would just like to say, everybody's like, enjoy it now because later, and I know that there's still weeks to go, but the way that everybody was on my ass and I'm the one still standing, all I'm going to say is, I don't know what to tell you. You keep talking about Titletown. At this point, you might as well come over here if you want to be with the winning team. That's all I'm finna say. I'm happy. We looked really good on offense. I know that defense was a problem, obviously, because of TJ Watt, but I think that they were obviously clearly able to hold it down. Like Trysta also said, Kenneth Gainwell made great offensive plays for us. Also, our pickup in Marquez, that was Aaron Rodgers' former teammate when he played with the Packers. He had his first touchdown as a Steeler. So just all around, I feel like everything is meshing in the perfect timing when it needs to. So I'm excited, and I actually have things to look forward to. So no shout out to the Dolphins, because we kind of saw things trickling down as their season was progressing. I know later in the game, they were able to get more touchdowns from Darren Waller, but at that point, the cards were already in our hands. So we kind of saw where things were going. So just in general, I'm happy with where the team is going and how I see things going. And I know that there is always still going to be the Ravens, but I just think that we're in the best position because the division as a whole right now has just been going through a lot, especially just with injuries and things. So I just think that we're in the best position that we could be in. And unfortunately, the healthiest teams are going to be the ones that are going to prevail. And we keep saying best ability is availability. And even though we don't have TJ Watt, most of our other players have been available. So we good. for now.
I'm happy for Tua. I must say this. I don't know about you guys. I don't know about Arabia or Trysta. I'm happy that Tua gets to finish this season on his feet. He's not carried off in the stretcher, and that's pretty much a win. The only win that you could take from this Miami season.
So
definitely a silver lining for sure. No, go ahead, Stat. Go ahead, Stat.
Yeah, I have a follow-up question for y'all just concerning the Dolphins because we've kind of seen how things have went for them. Do you guys see major changes happening, or do you think that like the organization is just going to try to play it safe and just keep everybody kind of content where they're at? Arabia.
What a great question, because Stephen Ross once again seems to be so concerned with F1 and what's happening sometimes outside of the Dolphins that I'm not sure if he has the proper people in place to make these decisions, because it seems like when chess pieces need to be moved on the board, people just aren't available to move them. So in my opinion, there should be some changes, some tweaks here and there, but we're going to see if ownership and the front office and leadership is attentive enough to the Dolphins to even see those changes need to be made and then actually make them in the offseason.
Okay, Trysta.
Yeah, I agree with Arabia. It feels like they really held firm on not firing Mike McDaniel in the middle of the season, but yet firing their GM in the middle of the season. And so to me, those two situations don't really align. Stephen Ross doesn't feel like he necessarily wants to move on from Tua. And to me, like you said, Mace, Tua just doesn't have it. And he had it at one point, and we thought in Mike McDaniel's first year that this team was on the rise. They looked like the most potent offense in the NFL. I remember when they put up a bajillion points just a couple of years ago, and we're leading the league in terms of offense. At this point, though, I have no faith in Tua in order to do anything positive, and I feel like they kind of need a whole overhaul.
That's pretty huge. That's a pretty huge statement. You said no faith at all. Do you know what that's like when a man gets no faith at all from a woman? That is crazy. You might have broken his spirit when he hears this. I don't know how else can he take this. What do you think, Arabia, when a woman tell you she has no faith in you?
Yeah, the Bible says when a man finds a wife, he finds a good thing. And I think part of that good thing is being able to motivate him and lead him to heights that he may not meet on his own. But I got to have my girl Trysta back on this one. It's hard to see the way that Tua has been playing over these last few seasons and say that this is my man, my man, my man. Like, I don't know. We're going to have to see. We got to take people for who they are and not who they could be. That's a problem with relationships today, is that people fall in love with people's potential and not who they actually are today. So we got to take Tua for who he is, not who he could be. And if he gets to that promised land, good for him. But
at 253 yards, you guys don't have no faith in 253 yards with an average of nine yards per session.
Listen,
yeah,
cannot go out, be the motivator for Tua. I cannot go out and preach what Tua can be. I don't think I could ever be with a professional athlete, because you have to have just as much delusion in what they're capable of as what they have for themselves. I would be like, you're throwing ducks, Tua. You're on your back, Tua. Do you even want to play football with how many concussions you've had, Tua? Like, maybe hang it up, Tua. And so for me, I probably shouldn't be with somebody like Tua.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, also a whole bunch of passing yards and stuff. Like, sometimes a lot of passing yards is indicative of the fact that you're down a lot in games and you don't have, again, the luxury of putting the ball on the ground. You got to have an air raid. You got to save time and put the ball in the air and have a lot of pass attempts. So a whole bunch of passing yards and stuff, when people use that as a reason why a quarterback is really good or deserves this or that, it's like, well, look at the game as a whole. Why are they passing so much? Is it because they have to, because they're trailing in games that have to come back? Or are they just that nigga? And I feel like it's the former for Tua.
That nigga? Or because the former was that nigga, Arabia.
No, the latter was that nigga. The former was that it's because he's trailing in games.
Okay. All right.
So, Mace.
Yes.
There's nobody that you don't have zero faith in at all. Like, because you was talking about them.
I have
but
zero faith. No, let me put it like this. It's okay for a guy to tell you he has no faith in you, but it hits different when a woman tells you. You know what? I have no. You come to her with your idea, and she said, "I have no faith
No
in
faith
what
in
you're
you.
saying."
It's different. It's real from another nigga. Even though there do be some niggas that care a lot about what their homeboys say, but maybe that's just my generation. So I think it comes from both.
Yeah, but it's crazier when a woman tells you, maybe we should ask Nick. Nick, what do you think? Does it hit differently, Pauls, when a woman tells you she have no faith in you versus a guy? A man knows that. That's pretty different because this is the woman that's supposed to be supporting you.
Okay. Tristan
She
or
came
Arabia,
in
do y'all
support.
agree with that? Do you think it's worse if a woman says she has no faith in you as opposed to a man?
I think it depends on the man and his values. Because like you said, it's that some of these men out here value what their homeboys say and what their homeboy think of them over what their girl values and what their girl think of them. So it depends on the man. But in general, it hits different. I don't know about worse, but it definitely hits different when somebody of the opposite sex tells you something about yourself.
Yeah, it would be no
I'm gonna
different.
say this though.
Yeah, go ahead,
I'm
Tristan.
gonna say this though. I think it hits harder when you're dating that person. I am a random to Tua. Like I have no connection to Tua at all. I just want everyone in the chat to know that my opinion should mean absolutely zero to Tua. If I was laying up with Tua and I said, "Hey, I have no faith in you," I think absolutely that should probably go a little bit slotted higher than some random guy or his homeboy. But for just some random opinionist on any network,
Yeah,
I think it should be the same as a guy.
I didn't know where you was coming from because when you first said random could mean dating, but I'm glad you cleared that up when you said you was a random for Tua because I was about to say, wait a minute, you was a random for Tua, Trista is crazy.
Make that clear.
You got to be more careful up here on It Is What It Is.
Okay. So let's go into this next game. So the Packers lost to the Broncos 34-26. This brought the Broncos to their 11th win in a row. Arabia, how are you feeling about this Broncos streak and then a Packers loss?
Good. The Broncos have clinched a playoff spot with this win. They're one of two NFL teams to do so, joining the Packers. Bo Nix had a really good game, possibly his best game so far in his NFL career, arguably. 304 yards, 4 touchdowns to 4 different targets. So he was spreading the ball around in that regard. Denver's defense also, back up because there were a lot of significant injuries in this game. After Christian Watson's injury, Bo Nix and the Broncos outscored the Packers 20-3. So they had a much better later half of the game. As far as the Packers go, they were held to a little over 100 yards in the second half. So Broncos defense stepped up in that second half, to no one's surprise. But it's one of the reasons why they're so dangerous. Complementary football. They have a very dominant defensive front, and that just complements an already talented secondary. So you had interceptions by Pat Surtain, who was the reigning defensive player of the year from last year. You had a pass rush that was extremely efficient and led to the Packers running into some serious problems in their last 3 possessions of the game. So the Broncos look really great, and talk about a perfect storm. That defense has been dominant all year, but when you couple that with Bo Nix finding his rhythm and finding his footing in this game, you have an offense that's efficient and a defense that's just dominant. The Broncos could really go really far this season. So I feel good about the Broncos win. And for the Packers, they're still in the playoff race right now in a really tight division, NFC North. Right now, the Bears are on top of that division. The Lions are at, right below them. So tight race. We're going to see how the NFC North shapes up.
Okay, Trista.
Yeah, I agree with Arabia. I think that the Broncos have been slept on. Like my guy, Bo Nix, everybody has said all season, like, this is really cute what the Broncos are doing, but we don't believe in Bo Nix. We think they have a great running game. J.K. Dobbins gets hurt. R.J. Harvey steps up. We think that they have an elite defense, but we believe that the buck stops with Bo Nix. We think that he's not an elite quarterback and you have to game manage him. You have to basically protect him from himself because he can't make the proper throws. He can't get the big boy throws like he did in this game against a very good, even without Micah Parsons, defense. I saw multiple big boy down the stretch come from behind, pause, down 9 points in the second half, and they found a way to get the ball to Cortland Sutton, to get the ball to R.J. Harvey. And to me, it feels like nobody's really talking about 11 straight wins and a team that could legitimately now, if this offense is the way that it is, can beat the Patriots, can beat the Bills, can beat pretty much any team in the AFC. Besides, maybe I would probably put them on par with Houston, but Houston hasn't figured their offense out. If this Broncos team continues this way, they're a legitimate Super Bowl contender to me.
You know what? I feel very proud of you guys. You know what? We might have the smartest female analysts in the country. I'm serious. I was sitting back thinking about this. This is really phenomenal, you know? I'm normally the only expert up here, you know, week to week. But when you guys come in, you kind of balance it out. I don't have to do as much work, you know, when you guys come in, you know. But this is a thing I can really tilt my hat to, you know. No point in, you know, against you, Stat. You're growing in the expert status, but you waver a little bit. I like these guys because when they speak, they just go straight for it. You're a straight shooter, Arabia, and you also, Trysta. You guys are straight, and we got the best female cast in the whole world. I'm just gonna go ahead and say it right now on national TV, wherever you're watching this. It is what it is. Have the best female analysts in the whole world, bar none. It don't matter who you're thinking about, you know. So, but back to the game. Bo Nix, this is Oregon's alumni. This is he come from my family, the Buck Ducks. So what do I expect? We supposed to be winning. All we produce is winners, Stat. It's not like these other guys that come from college. They come from these great programs, and then they end up just losers year after year. This is the pedigree that comes from Titletown, Stat. If you join early in college, you end up coming to the pros and doing very well. And this is why I'm looking forward to you enrolling again this summer. It should be a great thing if you come back, because there's more things for you to learn in Titletown. But when it comes to this game, I was expecting Denver to win. I wanted Green Bay to win, you know, because I got a lot of family in Milwaukee, and they always give me a hard time about Milwaukee and Wisconsin. But I call it Milwaukee because that's where most of the people watching the game are probably driving in from. So I wanted them to win. But Denver, I'm not sure if Bo Nix is just the greatest game manager of all time at this point. He's doing such a phenomenal job. It's just not messing the team up. And I remember Cam Newton was speaking about this, and he was saying things like, you know, this guy's just a game manager. This guy's just a game manager. But it seemed like these days, the ones who are going to wind up in the championship are going to be game managers.
Okay. First thing I have to say is, chat, let me know in the comments down below if y'all think I should re-enroll in Titletown Summer School. I have a lot of thoughts, but I'm just going to keep them to myself. Given that, so we see...
Stat, but I did say you're part of the greatest female cast. You know, you
kind of said it.
No, I did. I alley-ooped it.
Kind of like a sub, but like, we'll take it.
Did you take it another way?
I mean, you know,
I want to make it clear because I meant the whole collective.
No, I love that.
Yeah, hold on. Let me help make it clear. Let me help make it clear because
yes.
I want to be clear that Trysta, a baddie. I was so happy when I saw her pop up on that screen because basketball is not my ministry. So whatever basketball if we talk about today, alley-oop the Trysta because that's not for me. Stat, you are the first lady of It Is What It Is. So you gotta set the tone every time that I ever need help or whatever. So you set the tone for all the ladies on It Is What It Is. I don't care if it's a guest or somebody behind the scenes. So
Flowers.
yeah, she sets
Roses.
the tone for all the females on It Is What It Is. And Trysta just had slam dunk when I saw the alley-oop. So yeah. Let's be clear.
Yeah, that's what I meant on every single aspect. Whether it's Arabia football, whether it's Trysta basketball, and whether it's you doing the mediation.
Period.
Yeah.
I just have to ask the chat about Titletown U because everybody has their different feelings about that.
Yeah, that's the thing.
They said it's been changing now that the Chiefs are gone. So they try to see where you going to see where I go.
No, just like she said, you know, there's things you got to understand. If you need more clarity, feel free to subscribe, you know, to It Is What It Is and learn more because I figured out last week I've always been Titletown.
From within.
Yeah, from within. The winners are with me.
They're with you. They're coming towards you.
Yeah, they're coming towards me.
They stray away.
If they stray away, they lose. Like, I remember I was reaching out. No, I kid you not. I was reaching out, ladies and gentlemen, to people on the Chiefs. They start acting like they didn't want to interview with us. So they started losing. Cam said he reached out to them. They said they didn't know me. And that's when the debacle started. You cannot know Titletown. Call Cam when you get off air. Call Cam. See if that's the truth. He said he reached out to them. They said, they don't know you. You remember Cam said that? And he said it about Boston.
Yeah, he did.
And you saw what happened, right?
Well,
you can't act like you don't.
There's a pattern.
It's a pattern. You get rid of Mace, you don't do well. I won't bring up other names, but it's all out there.
Man.
If you don't have Mace there, things just
ain't gonna work out.
It ain't gonna go right, I mean, hey, Nick.
Both of those teams, Mace, had season-ending injuries. You had ACL for Patrick Mahomes, and you had an Achilles for Jason Tatum. So that also happened. So I wanted to point that out.
What could I say? It's just like you ladies, right? If you were with a guy and he goes up, he get with this new young lady, and everything go down for him. Was it you? Because every time he was with you, he won. This is just how I look at life. People think sometimes I have this unqualified confidence, but it comes from just history. I just know the people come around me. They get richer. People leave me, they get poor. I don't know what to say. What do you call it?
You heard it here first. I don't know, but maybe it's giving new term definitions since we got a word of the week every week. So we'll look into that. But at this point, it's giving you how to make your own word.
It's called a blessing. That's what it is. The boy is a blessing.
And blessed at that. Okay, so I want to bring it back a little bit to Micah Parsons because we see as a confirmed torn ACL and is out for the season. So how do you guys think, how much do you think this impacts the Packers, and do you guys think that they can hold it down without him, Arabia?
Well, it's interesting because there were several significant injuries for the Packers, not just Micah Parsons. And it really started with right tackle Zach Tom, who went down with a knee injury. And then they started to kind of tread water. Everything seemed to be okay. And then Pat Surtain had a pick on Christian Watson, and Christian Watson went down and didn't get up. He had to be taken to a local hospital for a chest injury. He ended up being okay. He had a CT scan. He did travel with the team after that. Then after that was Micah Parsons, who had a torn ACL. And then after that, safety Evan Williams went down with a knee injury. So, I mean, significant injuries all around the board for the Packers. And to add insult to injury, they lost the game. So it seemed like they took two losses, one to the Broncos and then one to injury. So hopefully everyone who was injured in this game can rest up fully and heal and come back healthy. But it's not just Micah Parsons they have to worry about. They have some other people who are banged up. And at this point in the season, you'd be hard-pressed to find a team who's not dealing with injury in one way or another. It's just that this particular team did take down some significant people.
Yeah, I think to me, the Micah Parsons injury means more about how I'm feeling if I'm Dallas and how much I got back for him. 2 first-round picks and Kenny Clark, and then you gave Micah Parsons all that money, and now he's going to be out all of this year and all of next year. And I believe over $100 million of his contract is guaranteed. Defensively, he's massive. He's, defensive player of the year caliber pass rusher. He was the guy that you could call on when you needed somebody to get that pressure on the quarterback. And when Green Bay's offense was finicky now, and we've seen it be finicky like we did against the Panthers, you thought to yourself, well, Green Bay's defense is good enough to get it done. But with all of the injuries, now issues with Christian Watson, and obviously you also have Tucker Kraft on IR, who was their leading receiver as a tight end. You wonder if there are enough pieces for this offense to get it done, not only to make the playoffs, but even to make a push within the playoffs. So I think it's huge, but the issues are much more deep and wide than just the Micah Parsons injury to me.
That was crazy. That was really crazy.
Deep and wide pause. Sorry, deep and wide pause.
Yeah, that was really crazy. When it come to Michael Parsons, I would actually say that the Cowboys may have done very well with this trade. Maybe Jerry Jones saw something I didn't see, but I think he'll regret it moving forward. Right now, it seemed like they got the best of it, but when Michael Parsons get back full-fledged, it's gonna look like one of the biggest mistakes they made, because they're gonna need him in order to win where they want to win. Because when it comes down to it, the Cowboys, I hate talking about the Cowboys. Matter of fact, I'm just gonna stop. It's something cringe inside of me when I talk about the Cowboys. It's just not my cup of tea, you know.
But you want the poncho.
Thank you.
I just want to wipe my feet on a poncho. Do you share that sentiment, Arabia? I just want to wipe my feet when I come home from walking in dirt on the poncho, on Mike's poncho, because I hate the Cowboys.
That poncho ain't allowed in my goddamn house. Fuck the poncho. The poncho is out front on fire. I would never put that poncho on my head. Anything with a star or navy or silver, it's not going in my house if it's Cowboy related. But before we get off this game, I did want to say, because Trysta brought up a point about the Broncos in the AFC. And it's such a great point, because the Broncos are so competitive within their own conference. I think we'll be remiss not to mention that they're extremely competitive against the NFC as well. Bo Nix is 9-1 in the NFC. So just like Trysta said, in addition to the Broncos feeling very confident in the AFC, they also have many reasons to be confident in the NFC as well, because the only loss that he has as a Bronco in the NFC is against the Seahawks, which is his first ever NFL game. So moving forward, they have a lot to be excited about offensively and defensively. But as far as the Cowboys, let's just keep their names out of this episode if possible, because, you know.
Yeah, where does your hate arrive from for the Cowboys? Mine is from Michael Irvin. Before Michael Irvin, I loved the Cowboys. But the way he sells the Cowboys, it gets to me, you know?
Yeah, my hate is fake. I have fake hate for the Cowboys for entertainment purposes. I'm from DC. I'm a Commanders fan, so I like to give them a hard time. But in reality, I always give the Cowboys props when props are due. But for entertainment purposes, it's F the Cowboys. So when it comes down to it, I really love all 32 teams. I love football, so I can't hate too.
So you got fake hate, because I was about to say that. I was about to say, what happens when the young boy end up on the Cowboys? It would be just your fortune that your son end up on the Cowboys. It would be amazing to watch.
That would be crazy.
I know.
That would be crazy.
I asked my son, I said, what happens if you go to school, if you get an offer from Ohio State? And he was like, I just want to go to college. So I feel like as long as he don't go to Ohio State, we should be fine.
He go to Ohio State and play for the Cowboys. I would love to see you. I would love to see you in that OSU.
Got him though.
She'll be forced.
That'd be insane. He said he's not even finna go. He said, Mama come first. Everything after that did not matter.
Oh, man.
Okay, so I want to get to this game real quick before we go to break. So Rams beat the Lions 41-34. I know, Arabia, you were saying that this was one of your favorite games. So can you give everybody some insight into why? And then for everybody, what were you guys' takeaways from this game?
Yeah, so I anticipated the Rams winning this game. I thought it would be a shootout because both offenses are capable of it. And I think the Lions feel the pressure of the NFC North, right? They have two teams ahead of them, the 10-win Bears, the 9-win Packers, and then them. And then after that, the Rams, we already know how to get down. They are a very explosive offense, but the difference is the Rams defense is just way more dominant than the Lions defense at this point in the season right now. So it was an exciting game, a lot of huge plays, a lot of great catches and passes, and it was just a very exciting offensive game. I'm more of a defensive girl. I love low-scoring defensive games. That's kind of my thing in football, but every once in a while there's a really exciting offensive game. So this was kind of a shootout until the game really pulled away from the Lions later on in the game, but exciting game. It was a really fun watch. If you didn't see it, if you have the opportunity, you should go back and watch it. Really exciting game to watch.
Yeah, I think for me, the main takeaway is, okay, yes, we know that the Rams offensively are very potent. They then have an injury to Devontae Adams, a little hamstring. I think he should be fine overall. But this Rams team defensively, like Arabia said, they are nasty. But there's so much more upside for this Rams defense to achieve. They haven't been great rushing the quarterback. Their secondary, specifically Emmanuel Forbes, has been food. Like, absolutely target him all day, every day. And you saw the Lions get after him, right? And then you think to yourself, okay, now you got a Thursday night matchup against Seattle, not just for the NFC West, but for the 1 seed potentially. And you say, okay, I think I've got a lot of faith not only in the Rams to win that game in Seattle, but I think the Rams are a legit Super Bowl, not just contending, but they might be the best team in the NFL because offensively, we know what Matt Stafford does. We know what type of offense they have with Puka Nacua, with Kyron Williams, with Devontae Adams. But defensively, with Jared Verse, when he's doing his thing at the peak of his powers, and the rest of these guys on the D line and in the secondary, when they're playing much better than we've seen them play this season, I think they're better than everyone. That's kind of what I took away from that Lions game is you get that win, you come back to Seattle, you get that one, and it's kind of smooth sailing when you've got the easiest NFC West schedule in the last 3 games of the season.
Yeah, I could agree with you on that. I really wanted Detroit to win this game for several reasons. I just want to see Detroit win at some point. The last couple of years, they've been getting really close to being that type of team, and it just seemed like they phased. But right now, it seemed like they're running out of steam. Another thing I took away from this game was that I like games. Unlike what Arabia was saying, she liked the low-scoring game. I like when the teams start putting up championship points. This is the only type of game I want to see is when people start, having a real shootout and scoring a lot of points. But I would say this, when it comes to the Rams defense, I don't consider it good defense unless you're getting fumbles, unless you're getting like major sacks. I'm not really not a football guy, so unless it's something that really like stands out, I don't really consider it good defense just standing in front of people and getting sacks here and there. I like to see, picks. I like to see fumbles. I like to see all of that type of stuff that make the coach break his board and all of that type of stuff. If he's not breaking his board, I don't consider it good defense.
Don't want to see it.
Yeah.
Okay. We're going to go to break. When we return, we will discuss Phillip Rivers and we will get into the NBA Cup. Don't go anywhere.
What's up, big dog? What's up, big dogs? Martin Luther King Jr. will be alive today if Tua was the shooter. Tua's passer rating can barely go to the club and get a bottle. 24.1 passer rating against the Browns. Marlon Humphrey is online saying that he wants to go on a glizzy tour. He wants to go to 50 states and try 50 Glocks.
It's going to be challenging for A.J. Brown. He typically stands outside the numbers a lot, and that's where PS2 thrives.
CeeDee Lamb said this is one of the best offenses he's been a part of. And as much as I hate to say it, I can see why he says that. I just said all these positive things about the Cowboys makes me want to throw up. So I know it's taboo to put your hands on your kids. I know. But I had to whoop your son the other day.
When I evaluate rookies, the best thing I can always say about the ones that are doing the best, they understand pass protection. Pass pro is where you see some rookies struggle. He's not doing that. I'm liking what I'm seeing so far.
Welcome back. Now let's get into our underdog picks of the day. So today is the finals for the NBA Cup, and the Spurs will play the Knicks.
Woo!
Underdog Mace has Jalen Brunson at 29.5 points. Do you have him higher or lower?
This is really good because two guys that I know, these are their teams. Like you got Killer in San Antonio, which was really my team before his team. But and then you got Sin with the New York Knicks. So this is gonna be a great game for Talk with Flea. This is gonna be a great game. I would love to see not love to see, just for TV purposes, I would love to see if the Knicks beat the Spurs.
No, we would love to see that.
Yeah, how Sim would be talking to Cam. But I don't think they're going to win. I'm not rooting for them to win. I'm just saying just for that purpose. But I think the Spurs are going to win easily. But I would say I think the Knicks and Jalen Brunson will have 29.
Okay, and we'll get a little bit more into those predictions too,
yes.
especially when we talk more about the game. So Underdog has Cat at 20.5 points. Do you have him higher or lower?
Higher.
Okay, and Wemby is at 21.5 points. Do you have him higher or lower?
Well, with Wemby could have 50, 20, and 10. I mean, he's he's that kind of player that if he gets going, he definitely could have way over 20. I think that's a low number to think of, even if he's hurt.
Okay. Make sure y'all download the Underdog app and you can make your picks too. So the Colts lost to the Seahawks 18-16 with their new quarterback, Phillip Rivers. Trysta, gonna have you go first. What do you rate? Let's do like a letter scale, right? So from A to F, what do you rate his debut?
Would say a solid C, because you end up making a couple of good throws. The game plan was give the ball to Jonathan Taylor. That's the move. You haven't played in 5 years. You're 260 pounds or whatever you are. And so we know that you're not ready for game speed. He didn't have to do a whole lot. He did throw a lot more than I thought he was going to, but he made like 2 really good throws. One for sure that set up the field goal that got them to go ahead with like less than a minute. Seattle obviously came back and won, but you thought to yourself, the Colts against Seattle, one of the top defenses in the league, shouldn't even put up 16 points. I think the sports books had that line sitting there at 13.5. There was a lot that had to go into him even making that throw in terms of penalties and such. I would say a C, but I'm a little bit thrown off that he's now going to be the starter against the 49ers. More so, before we move on to Mace's take on his grade, I do think it's very odd that a guy who hasn't played in 5 years and is in his 40s would get the call before a guy like Colin Kaepernick, a guy that's much younger, a guy that is trying to at least get back into the league. Other quarterbacks are being looked over, even like we saw with Shador for pretty much the entire season until they had no options left. These GMs would rather bring in retreads like Joe Flacco, like Phillip Rivers, over young developmental quarterbacks that they have no belief in. And so that to me either means they're just stuck in their ways or there's something wrong. And I want to get Arabia's perspective on this too. There must be something wrong with the development in the college system with NIL. These quarterbacks are preferable to the young guns that are coming up into the league.
Wow.
You know what I think? Oh, no, go ahead, Mace.
Well, I would have to say this. I'm thinking about all of the people that are 44 years old, right? And just to think you getting out there, even getting out there at 44 years old is phenomenal. Let's say you get a call, let's say on a Monday of the week prior, and you get a call to say, hey, you're going to be playing this weekend, or would you like to play this weekend? Your agent is calling you. Everybody excited. Your wife is excited for you to get out the house. She's tired of you. You just watching the football TV, and then you go and you play in this game that you used to love, that you used to be such a major figure in, and you get close to winning. I got to give you at least probably of a C or maybe even a B. He came really close. He came close, so winning is all it's about. So if he would have won, I would have given him an A. But he didn't win. He didn't get the job done. And for me, winning is all it's about. So that's what I would say. But he is 44 years old. Like, what we expect him to do at 44 years old? He should really be ripping tickets at 44 years old or selling popcorn. He really shouldn't be out there at all. It could be dangerous. Hey, but, who am I?
Okay, Arabia.
Yeah, first I want to address Trista's point in question before I get to the grade. But what a phenomenal question and conversation about the development of athletes and quarterbacks from Pee Wee, and we see how they're translating to the NFL right now. One of the biggest problems with quarterbacks development is that they are reading their receivers. They're not reading the defense. And Kurt Warner is someone who has been very vocal about this, particularly even in a player like Tua, who all of his interceptions this season has come in zone defense. Some quarterbacks are having trouble making their reads and going through their progressions because they're reading their receivers instead of analyzing and pre-snap reading the defense. And then even as a play is going, reading the defense and being able to read and react. So this book behind me kind of talks about the state of current college football and NIL and the NCAA. And it's super interesting kind of thinking about the way that college players are developing, how NIL really affects their development, etc. It's a much longer, more interesting conversation, but that's my short answer for right now. And this is one of the reasons why they do prefer the veterans to come in over some of the younger guys, because they're able to process faster. It's actually a much faster and efficient process to read a defense than it is to read your receivers. And again, it's why they're preferring these older guys over some of the younger guys. But a much longer conversation could be had about that. As far as Phillip Rivers is concerned, first of all, to come in and be thrown into the fire that is a Seattle Seahawks defense is a tall task to begin with. He didn't come in against the Commanders or the Jets or the Raiders, the Titans, with all due respect. Shout out to all those teams. But he came back against the defense that coming into this game was the number 2 scoring defense in the NFL, the number 2 third down defense in the NFL, a top 10 red zone defense, a top 10 total defensive structure here for Seattle. So considering all that, I'm going to have a soft spot for Papa Rivers and give him a B- because he kept the Colts in a Papa Rivers. You know, he got 1 million kids. He's the old man who lived in a shoe. He has 10 children. He in there getting busy. All right.
We got to give him an 8. We got to give him an 8.
You
got to give him an 8.
6, 7. Hey, listen, I that's why I gave him a B, okay? Realistically, it's closer to the C that Trysta gave him. But because I have a 6-year-old, I have one child. If I had 10 of these motherfuckers running around and I come off the couch and keep the Colts in a competitive game against a Seahawks team that's very, very good. Hey, come on now, Mace. Come on now.
That's
you talking my language now.
Nigga got 10 kids now. It's not like
you off the couch and did that.
Now, if he would have did it off welfare, if the kids was on welfare, we have to give him an A+, you know, because he's dealing with all kind of things. But there's no EBT card involved, so we could give him a B. Stat. But I think that conversation about the younger players and the older players, I think that's what makes younger players hate the older in a lot of cases, because just the way we process things. And it has a lot to do with the system that we were developed in. I think the systems that are easier just produce weaker talent. And that's just all across the board, because the system is so much easier. It causes people to not have to develop things they should develop. So then you don't see it until it gets on a big stage. They don't have the fortitude and the things necessary to compete consistently at a high level. You'll see people with a breakout, but normally they don't have that longevity that is really needed.
Yeah, consistency. And then Arabia, were you done with your take before we go to the next one?
No, we need to talk about this. Go ahead, Arabia.
No, that was pretty much it. Shout out to Papa Rivers. I gave you a B-, brother.
So shout out to them kids. Okay, so we got to talk about the Bengals real quick before we go to NBA, because, you know, it's somebody's favorite team. Things happen. And go ahead. The Ravens beat the Bengals 24-0.
Oh, my goodness. You think this why Cam didn't come in today? Cam, if you're out there, this looks really sketchy. You didn't come in. I remember they was talking about me when the Chiefs lost and I didn't come in. So I gotta repay. I gotta repay. It's retribution, you know. 24-0 is wow, you know. But I know Baltimore is your second team, Stat.
No, it is not. It is literally not. They will not let this picture go, y'all. Trysta, what's your opinion on the Bengals scoreless game?
Well, first and foremost, I will say that if you didn't watch the game and you just see the score, like, that's a belt to ask. And you would think that the Ravens figured some things out and that they were on the come up to win the North. I will say that's just not really the case. Yes, was a lot of Jamar Chase's yards that he had somewhat in garbage time? Sure. But there's like 24 seconds left in the first half when Lamar Jackson made one Well, two insane throws to Zay Flowers. One was probably more Zay Flowers than the catch, but the deep throw to Zay Flowers at the end of the half to go up 14-0 was really like kind of the nail in the coffin. But the Bengals were able to move the ball a little bit. Chase Brown was doing his thing. He was getting the ball. Joe Burrow was getting the ball outside to Jamar Chase. And it looked a lot less belt to assy than it actually was. In terms of Joe Burrow, it's very clear, and people have told me this, that Joe Burrow is very unhappy with the Bengals office specifically, and it's getting worse. Really, really unhappy. Yeah, very unhappy with how cheap they are, how cheap their scouting department is, given how injury prone he's been and how bad the offensive line is. I really see Joe Burrow, and I don't think the Bengals will really do this necessarily, but I think Joe Burrow is going to do whatever it takes to get either them right or him in a right situation.
Yeah, I would love to see Joe Burrows just leave there, you know. I mean, such a great talent, you know, it's like wasted talent. He has Super Bowl ring written all over his talent, but it's just not going to happen in Cincinnati. Sometimes you're just not at the right place, and I call that a part of being blessed too, just getting to the right team. Sometimes you have these great players that be on the wrong team, and then you have this player that's not so great, and they end up on the right team, and they have a storybook career just because they was at the right place at the right time. It wasn't just the talent. But when I'm looking at this particular game, you see Joe Burrow, you know, with the 2 interceptions, and you could say he's unhappy, but to me, I don't think he's 100%. I think he's out there, not really 100%, but you know, he's just playing and going through the motions, and you could say it's not happy, but like again, I said, he's definitely not 100%. When they get beat by Lamar Jackson, I expect Lamar Jackson to beat him anyway. But that would just be my take. I know other people wouldn't agree with that, but I definitely would go with Lamar Jackson over Joe Burrow any day, because not just of the durability, but the tenacity as a player.
Yeah, this was the coldest game in Ravens franchise history. At kickoff, it was 10 degrees Fahrenheit with a -1 degree wind chill. Now, what does that mean? Sometimes as a quarterback, sometimes as an offensive coordinator, sometimes as a coach, you have to play call around the weather. Now, if you look at the stark difference between the play calling for the Ravens and the play calling for the Bengals, a lot of it is situational football because, again, scoreless for Joe Burrow. The Ravens held Joe Burrow scoreless for the first time in his career as a starter. So what does that mean? As they're leading 7-0, 14-0, etc., Lamar Jackson only threw the ball 12 times. All game, 12 times. You know how many times Joe Burrow threw the ball? 39 times. 39 pass attempts for Joe Burrow. You don't have the luxury of keeping it on the ground if you're constantly trying to make up time. Here's the thing, though. This is incredible. The Bengals dominated time of possession. And this is to Trysta's point. Looking at this box score, it's kind of like, oh, BTA, BTA. But the Bengals kept the ball for 40 minutes of this game compared to the Ravens 20. That means the Ravens defense really couldn't get off the field. It's just that they couldn't score. They couldn't find the end zone and they couldn't get a field goal. But ultimately, this just comes down to them not being able to put points up on the board, because defensively, if you look at a shutout, you think the Ravens defense did a great job, but really they just could not get off the field. And Lamar Jackson, the Ravens offense, was a lot more efficient, doing a lot more in those 20 minutes than the Bengals did in 40. So, you know, incredible how close this game could have been, maybe, if the weather was different, if this and if that, if whatever, but that's just not the case. And ultimately, Bengals couldn't score a single point, which, again, first time in Joe Burrow's career.
Yeah, well, you saying if the weather was different, I don't think Cincinnati have the right to make an excuse about the weather. That's Cincinnati. They're used to the cold. It's not like this is Miami or is Tampa Bay. What is the excuse for them not playing well in the cold?
Oh, there is no excuse for not playing well in the cold. It's just to say, like, again, Cincinnati is a cold weather. They not in the South, like you said. So there is no excuse for them not being able to find the end zone or score any points. I'm just saying, like, if you look at the reasons why they couldn't score, you can say, well, as a Bengals fan, you could be like, well, if this happened or if that happened, but ultimately they couldn't score. And so it is what it is.
It is what it is, literally. Okay, time to get
into
some NBA. So the NBA Cup Finals, the championships, is set for tonight. It'll be the Knicks versus the Spurs. But first, I want to talk a little bit about the semifinals games before everybody gives their predictions. So the Spurs beat OKC 111-109. Trysta, I know you were at the game, so I would love to get your thoughts on just how everything went too. But SGA was asked if this matchup could be the NBA's best rivalry within the next few years. He said there's a good chance. They are young, really good, have a lot of talent, play the right way. They play good brand of basketball, but yeah, it's definitely a possibility. So Trysta, how did you feel about this matchup and then what you saw? And then do you agree with SGA? Do you think it could be the best rivalry in the next couple of years or now?
Yeah, I mean, Stat, we got to see a good one, didn't we? Oh my God. I tell you what, it looked like it was going to get out of hand pretty fast. I think the Thunder were up like 15 points before Wemby even came into the game. And I wondered, like, is Mitch Johnson even going to bring Wemby in and risk injuring him in a cup game? Wemby comes in, Stat, the plus 20 in 7 minutes. Is changing everything about the game and almost like transform the rest of the team into being an okay team that's offense is getting into the paint and using Stephon Castle, Dylan Harper pretty well, who are great guys at putting pressure on the defense around the rim. But then you have Wemby in, who not just like is an offensive force, but what I noticed up close was that, you know, and Arabia will kind of like probably get this as an NFL like analytics person, but Wemby's like the middle linebacker out there. He's the quarterback of the defense. He's telling everyone where to go. And as a guy who's as young as Wemby, to instantaneously take that leadership role and move guys around the chessboard, the whole paved a way where you're not going anywhere near there because of how his go-go at gadget arms work. And the rest of the guys can put pressure on the defense on the perimeter. Much so because they're not worried what happens if they get cooked, because Wemby's standing right there and can cover the entire floor if they do get put on the hibachi and get barbecue chicken. They're getting 24-second shot clock violations. They're turning the Thunder over. And all of a sudden, they're getting just as physical as the Thunder are and frustrating them, and then getting easy transition buckets, which is what the Thunder are known to do. They played the same brand of basketball, only they have a guy who's probably more impactful than Shea. So I think what I saw is that Wemby is pretty much ready to take over as the MVP caliber of the league. But yeah, this could be the Western Conference Finals for the next decade.
I love that take. I love the take from the aspect of what Wemby brings to the game, right? When Wemby comes into the game, it's like this team goes from JV to an NBA All-Star team. It's like without Wemby on the floor, they're going to lose a lot of games by 10, by 13, sometimes by 20. And in some games, they could play close. But if they were to do this for 82 games, this team would be a 10-point to 15-point deficit the entire year. Soon as Wemby comes in, it becomes this potential of a dynasty team. And I wouldn't say that these two teams would potentially meet as a rivalry for years to come, because I believe that when Wemby comes in the game, they're that much better than OKC. And after OKC lose twice, I think Presti will not keep that team together if they keep losing to Wemby. He would have to figure something out, because now even SGA as a big guard doesn't matter as much with Wemby out there. It's almost like you've taken away the best part of this OKC team, which is, you know, SGA. And he's growing to be like my favorite player in the NBA right now. But when Wemby gets out there, I forget that. And now I'm with the Spurs. I'm with the Spurs to win. I'm with the Spurs to win against the Knicks. It's just when you got somebody like that on the floor, it's like when they had Shaq out there and Shaq was focused. It's just nobody going to beat Shaq. It don't matter what the other team is about. If Shaq is focused, they're going to win. And that's the same way with Wemby. If Wemby is 100%, it's just you can't beat the wingspan. Pause. You can't beat somebody that tall. No matter how good of a move you make, he can get a piece of the shot or alter the shot. So it's really like a cheat code. It's like Wemby is like the player you create on 2K and niggas get mad and tell you stop using Wemby, you know? That's just what's going to happen.
Yeah. One thing I will add, if you guys watching have never seen Wemby play in person, that is just a must-see experience. So for me, this was my first time seeing him play, and it felt like I literally gained an infinity stone, because just seeing the way he moves, just seeing how easy it is for him to block every shot, just seeing how easy it is for him to maneuver and essentially take over the court, especially on limited minutes.
Yeah.
It's just like, what? Like, because I've stated very clearly that my favorite players, Steph Curry and Jimmy Butler.
Yeah.
Wemby's there. Like, that is a whole nother game, section, whatever you want to call it. Like, it just changes everything. And it's exciting to see, because I know we always joke about, like, new hotness and that next level and that next step, but, like, the time is now.
Yeah.
It's here.
That's what I meant by cheat code. You know, he's like the player you create. I want him to be 7'4". I want him to have a handle. I want him to make his jump shots.
Yeah.
I want his speed to be up to this.
Yeah.
I want his grade to be up to 99. Yeah. He checks all of the boxes. It's like when you have a little kid and they're tall and you say, I'm going to make him a point guard. I don't care that he's 7 foot. I'm going to train him as a point guard. It's like a dream of athlete that you would create in the NBA. So you probably was thinking about it because you could see it. But
yeah,
as people that watch a lot of basketball, grew up in basketball, he's like the ideal player that you would put on the floor.
Yeah, it changed
everything.
Literally changed everything. I was like, yeah, this is fire. So it's like, I can't even, not saying, let me make it clear, I'm not saying I'm switching teams, but you can't but not root for them. Like, it's just a sight.
Yeah, if he's on the floor, if he's on the floor as he's developing, it's a foregone conclusion that he's going to be in a championship.
Yeah.
It's a foregone conclusion.
Yeah. And even just the crowd's reaction to him alone, I'm sure, Trysta, you heard it as well. Like, every time he does something, like, yes, it would be quiet too, because the NBA Cup is one of those games that's like, people are coming from everywhere. Like, there's no home court advantage. So yes, everybody's just there to support. When Wemby is on the floor, the whole stadium is just a different level. Yes. Like, we've never seen that, especially just from one player who just, you know, still younger. Like, a lot of the times I feel like, especially people who watch basketball for a while, it's going to be a while before they're like, man, I ain't finna give him his credit. I ain't finna do, like, you can't help it. So.
And that's the part.
No, Stat, to your point, Stat, they were screaming, Wemby, Wemby, when every time he stepped on the floor.
I also heard Wemby
chants.
Wemby.
Yes, they were doing MVP. He makes his free throws. He's celebrating after every little win they had. Everyone turned into Spurs fans in there. They're booing Oklahoma City if there's like a foul discrepancy, and they're trying to say, oh, was this a flagrant? And I think you saw that stat where the crowd was really pissed at some of the calls that the Thunder had. And it was like, where did all these Spurs fans come from? It's like, no, they're maybe not Spurs fans. These people are from New York. These people are from Florida. These people from all over the country. They are Wemby fans.
Yeah.
This is amazing. And it's another thing to think about when we talk about this situation is that I remember when Wemby first came in the league and he met him and LeBron was on courtside. And it was just amazing to see how they was interacting. If you can go back and pull it up, you can just see that LeBron understands that this is the next person, right? So when that begins to happen, even people like LeBron will get less calls because now the league is shifting towards Wemby, and that's going to be interesting to watch. I remember there was a time when it was like that for Magic, and we saw Jordan come in, and then it just seemed like Magic would get that call, but now we're giving that call to Jordan. Or Jordan would get that call. Now we're giving it to Kobe. Or Kobe would get it. Now we're giving it to LeBron. So this is going to be the passing of the torch, if I could say that. When Wemby gets on the floor, it's one thing for people to want him to succeed, but he's already the face. He's already face of the NBA. And I think everybody that know basketball already knew that.
Yeah. Okay. And then the Knicks beat the Magic 132-120, which is leading us now to this finals matchup. So the Spurs will play the Knicks. Trysta, who do you predict wins it all? And then how did you feel about that Knicks versus Magic game?
I mean, I got to give it to the Spurs. I don't think that Mitchell Robinson or Karl Anthony Towns can be able to do anything with Wemby. But also, I think you look at De'Aaron Fox, and he's in person. You talk about how people look on TV stat versus how they look in real life. And I don't know if it stuck out to you, but De'Aaron Fox is like the after Jets. When everybody's sprinting up the floor and De'Aaron has the ball, he is so much faster and pulls away and cuts through the lane like a hot knife through butter, and just is so smooth. So you've got him on the perimeter, and he's been awesome. But you also have Dylan Harper coming off the bench, who's been putting pressure on the defense. But really, Steph Castle, to me, feels like he's a key piece that's going to really make life problems for the Knicks, make life problems for Jalen Brunson. They've got really big guards that are going to make life very difficult for New York. I thought in terms of just takeaways from the game, these are two of the slowest teams in the NBA last year that are now two of the fastest teams in the NBA, and put up 252 combined points, with the Knicks scoring 73 in the first half. I like the ball movement. I like what Mike Brown is trying to instill. I think that they play a lot better with Josh Hart starting versus coming off of the bench. And I know he's been injured, and now he was like in a funk, and him and Mike Brown got into it. But now I think they're sort of trying to figure out what their rotations are. I have question marks about the Knicks defense, but offensively, this is the most fluid that I've seen them. And that makes a lot of sense considering how Tom Thibodeau coached versus how we saw that Sacramento Kings beam team when they were at the peak of their powers, scoring like 170 points against the LA Clippers in quadruple overtime.
Yeah, I think if the Knicks win this, they're going to be ecstatic. It's nothing you're going to be able to tell New York. If they beat the Spurs with Wemby, this could be the biggest win of the Knicks history. I would say it, because this Knicks team, you have no idea the mindset of New Yorkers. If they win this game, they will already believe they can win the championship with just one game. We know you got to win 4 out of 7 in the finals, but the way the confidence of a New Yorker goes, if they get this one, they could do anything. And I think in order for them to win this, they just need Karl Anthony Towns to have a superb out-of-this-world game. He needs an out-of-this-world game, because the way Wemby is going to play, it just seems like even the big people are small to Wemby. So it's like he has to have a monstrous game. And we need that 30 points from Jalen Brunson. They will need both of them to be in 30 to win this game, because you got too many weapons on that San Antonio Spurs team. And it's young weapons. It's developing weapons. It's not just weapons that are like, veterans. It's people that are on their way up. So they're trying to prove a point, and this become a great stepping block for them. They beat an OKC team. They got to come back and win this game to look like they're stable talent. And I look forward to San Antonio winning it. But if that Knicks team win, remember I told you, you will not be able to say anything about a New York team until the playoffs.
You can't. And it all goes down tonight.
Yes. You going to the game, Stat?
I think so.
Yes.
We will see, because I feel like that's my scene. Like you said, if New York wins it, first of all, we won't hear the last of Sin, and that's just one of many New York fans.
Oh, yeah, winners.
So from there,
Sin is going to be up here saying, y'all need to start with the Knicks. And we put it out there, Sin. If the Knicks win, we got to start the show with the Knicks. We got to start the show with
and
the
we will.
Knicks.
So we will see what happens.
And look at Nick in there. You could just see Nick. He's going crazy.
Ear to ear, cheesing. Okay, y'all. Well, that is all the time that we have for today. Arabia and Trysta, it was a pleasure to have you guys both on the show, and I'm happy y'all got to meet.
Yeah, thank you to the best women's cast in all of sports.
Period.
And this
Thank you so much for having us.
This brilliant mind put it together. Can I get a close up? This brilliant mind put it together.
Okay. Slow mo.
Oh my God.
Okay, y'all.
Well, shout out to the brilliant mind.
Shout out to the brilliant mind.
Brilliant mind. That's who you
Hey,
feeling like.
Presty. Who else?
Yeah, the beautiful mind.
Yeah, you got to put me up there with Presty and them. Yeah, I had to wipe the board. I had to pull talent from.
Town is right here.
Yes, I had to pull talent from everywhere.
Period. Ended.
Yeah, he did say Titletown is not a place. It's a person. And
It's a person. It's a person. This is why Killer brought me on board. This is a person.
Period.
We see it.
The recipe, of course.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank y'all for watching. And as always, it is what it is.